Hey, it's Get to the Root Stuff with a quick addendum to my last rambling podcast episode. I just went through like the whole philosophy of like why I make my show, why I love it, and the fact that I create a vibe and all of the related info to what I do. And then I also related it to just like the experience of public radio DJing in the modern era. Like, but I went through some of the radio rules, and I completely realized that I lost, where I was speaking about when I said, like, you can't say free on air and or in your recorded voice drops. You also can't say prices, which I should have mentioned. So, for example, if you're doing public radio and you're like, "Tickets are 16.99," I guess that's against the rules because like, you just, like, can't say it. And I learned that, from all the other people at the radio that have helped me like guide my way or whatever that I got to like help out back when I was helping out more people and doing more things. Like it's just I don't know why the rule exists, but it's one of those rules. So you can't say free because free is a price. You also can't say what tickets cost or anything costs. And I just try to like stay away from money in general. And also I might have broken this rule accidentally. I'll just talk about that real quick so that there's a little story involved in this little factual tidbit. So when I interviewed Mike from Mighty Mike Video Games in Pinellas, he has this free play where it's like where you can come in the store and just play the games. It's called like free play. And I was like, well, it's not saying that it is free to do, even though that's in the name of it. It's actually the name of what this type of activity is called in many places. And so I was like, well, since it's like free play TM, it's almost like a trademark phrase, not quite. It's like more of a terminology. I just like kept that in the interview because I thought logically he wasn't like, and it's totally free to come do. Like he didn't press harp on it. He just called it what it was called, what it is called. Because you can go, and then this is not going on the radio, so I can say this because you can go to his shop and play video games for free in this, and it's a free play because that's what it is. So it may not be like a really common term, but it is something that I've heard referenced by more than just him for this activity. And it also would apply to other things, so I kept that in the show. Even though I'm not sure it's entirely under the rules, I think because we didn't harp on it is because and also because I just don't have many listeners, I didn't get turned into the FCC, and I hope that that never I mean, it's not gonna go on the radio again, so and it's just gonna stay on my podcast archive, so I don't think it'll ever be a problem, and so I think I'm good there. But yeah, that's how I made that determination. That's a story about coming really close to the rules and then just trying to logic out whether it was a good idea or not. And, mistakes happen, like, especially on the live shows. And then sometimes you're just up there being really boring and you don't even realize it. And that's not fun either for anyone except for the person talking. So yeah, I just wanted to add that little note that that is one more public radio rule that is considered when making a show. And if you didn't listen to the other episode, it is very long. I will quickly summarize what it was. If you did listen to it, you should stop listening right now because this is what you already heard me talk about forever. It's it's a combination of hard but simple, but basically you go onto the website, which that hosts the radio show. Like we have our the website that we use for the platform, and there's a database that anyone that's a user can access and listen to everything in it. And you search by keyword, which is called a tag in our database, or by style, which is like generally the genre of music, or you can also search for titles or artists, and it'll bring you to the tracks that are available. And then you go and you do your playlist for the week. You put everything in order, and you have to have in there your station ID at the top of every hour within the first 5 minutes. It has to be in the first 5 minutes of your beginning hour, the last 5 minutes of your hour. It has to be in there in that like 10-minute span. So like if your show is like 12 to 4, you have to have one between 11:55 and 12:05, one between 4:55 and 5:05, or like that type of thing, like every hour. I know I just skipped several hours there, but that makes sense, right? No. Okay, yes, it does make sense. So you have to have that in there, so like that's in every show. And then you have to like make it sound like a radio show, so doing voice drops, and since it's not live, they're recorded ahead of time. And they have to be subject to the rules that listed earlier, which is no prices, including the word free. You can't say, "Come on down." You can't, like, encourage people to do things or should do things, and there's other ones too. You can't swear, and I'm sure I'm forgetting some rules, but follow the rules of the FCC for public radio in your voice drops, and then you just, like, save it, and it's done, and it goes on to the radio station, basically, and then, yeah, so that's, like, how I do it, and but, it's I could just pick, like, what, like, 20 random songs each month? That'd be terrible, probably. I mean, we have a lot of good songs on the radio station, so there's more thought into it than that. You have to actually, like, create, like, a feeling, and there's many different ways to do that, and often just by starting, you can accomplish that even if the feeling is like, "Oh, this is a pretty good list. This is a pretty good lineup today," or "This is a pretty good playlist today." Like, I think this, like, people like listening to this stuff." Like, the end. Like, it's not hard to put effort in without overthinking it. But sometimes, it can be fun to overthink it, and you can do a lot with the voice drops by staying in the rules and staying appropriate, but also, like, giving listeners, if someone happens to be tuning in, like, a little, like, laugh or a dopamine rush if possible. So, yeah, that is how to create a public radio show, in my opinion. It's definitely not how I create this podcast. It really just turns into me rambling every time. So I'm sorry about that, and I hope that this little addendum clears things up or entertains you in any way whatsoever. Okay, finally now. Goodbye, good night. I have no voice. Goodbye.